Hello, my name is Jeff Schaefer. I'm the product manager for Graco's process division.
And I'm Mike Moe. I'm the product trainer for Graco's process division.
Today we're going to be reviewing our Husky 1050E and batch and calibration mode operation with our brushless DC version. So here we have a full brushless DC setup with the Graco built controller, and then Mike has the components over there that we need in order to properly dispense and measure for a calibration. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our controller and actually turn the pump on for batch mode. The way it's set up right now is flow control mode, so if we hold down our enter button, we're going to get into our menu here. And I'm using our quick start guide here for the brushless DC version, so it has some good references as far as how to get into some of the modes and also the error codes on the back. The first menu here is G200 that we're going to go into to change the mode. And we're going to go from 0 to 1. 1 is going to be our batch mode. So I'm going to hit it.
0 is a flow mode, correct?
Correct, Mike. 0 was the flow mode. So that was just set a flow rate on the pump and it will run. With the batch mode, what we'll do is we'll set a desired batch set point, and the pump will count down and then turn off once it's hit that value. Now, once we've set the batch mode, we need to go in and set the desired flow rate that the pump will run at while in batch mode. That menu is G247. So if I go in here, right now it's set for 11. Let's go ahead and change that. I'm going to set that for about 15 liters per minute. All right, and I know it's liters per minute because all of our units are currently set in liters per minute. All right. So if I come back out to our main menu by holding down the enter button, what we can see here is instead of displaying 0, the pump displays 9.5. So 9.5 is going to be the current set point for our batch. Mike doesn't have a 9.5 liter bucket, so we're going to go ahead and turn that down a little bit. Mike, what's the value on that bucket? How much can it hold?
This one will hold 4 liters.
So we're going to go ahead, we'll set it for 2 liters, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to hold that. Now what I'll do is I'm going to hit the green button that's going to start it, and what you'll see on the screen is as it's dispensing over there, it's going to count down from 2 liters to 0. So now Mike will go ahead and take a look at his bucket and his measurement.
And we're just over 1.5 liters right now, so maybe 1.6 liters.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, what's very important for batch mode is if you want to batch, you probably want to batch accurately. Since we asked for 2 liters and we only got 1.6, we're going to go ahead and do a calibration on the unit and adjust the K-factor. So what Mike's going to do is he's going to do the calculation for our K-factor for us, but before he starts, I need to get into the screen here. And if we go to menu G203, we can see our current K-factor is 523 cc's per cycle. All right, so we need to adjust that. In order to adjust that, Mike needs to take the actual dispensed volume that we dispensed, so 1.6 liters, divided by the target volume, which is 2 liters. And you need to take that and multiply that by our K-factor, so times 523.
So then the new K-factor resolution would be 418.
So we're going to go back in here and we're going to adjust this K-factor down to 418. And we're going to see if that gives us a more accurate measurement to our 2 liters.
Jeff, one thing I would like to mention as we're doing this is it's very specific when you do this to make sure your hose is loaded when both dispenses. In other words, you don't want an empty hose in one and a full hose in the other.
That's a great point, Mark. And actually, or Mike, and actually, it needs to be loaded the same way. So right now, the end of it is actually empty. So if you held it up and kept the end full, you would get different results.
Correct.
So we now are back at the run mode. So we have 2 liters here loaded. So we're going to go ahead and start this again and see if we get a more accurate batch dispense. So Mike's going to go ahead and take a look at the beaker.
And so this time, we're just slightly over.
Okay.
So we had a gross change And now what we should probably do is do it one more time again to make sure it's dialed in. So we're probably at about 2.2 liters right now.
Okay, so let's go ahead and make one more adjustment to kind of dial it in. So what we'll do is, again, we take our actual, the dispensed volume, which is 2.2, divided by the target, which is 2, and we multiply that value times our current K-factor, which is 418. And that's going to give us a new value.
And now we're at 459.
So we'll go ahead and adjust this to 459. Hit enter, and then we'll get back out to the main menu, and we'll try this one more time.
And Jeff, this time we're right on.
Perfect. So as you can see, making those couple adjustments were very important to make sure that our batch was going to be accurate. So if you are running in batch mode, dispensing sanitary food ingredients or chemicals or whatever you're doing, you want to make sure you do that calibration to get your output accurate. Now that we have it accurate, we could change this. So if I wanted to go up and I'd say I wanted to do a 10-liter batch, I could just arrow this up. And if you just want to put the hose in the bucket, again, just like the 2-liter, we just hit start, and the controller will begin to count down from 10, and it would stop once we hit 0, and we'd have our 10 liters. One thing I do want to point out as it's going through this is if you do close the valve or have a clog or do anything with the pump while it's running in batch mode, the controller will continue to run, and the batch will continue to count down, so it's not accurate. It's important that you keep that output line fully open and unobstructed during a batch, otherwise you could get faulty results. And the other thing that's important to note is if you do stop that batch before it gets down to 0, you're going to see an error code here, basically telling you that someone has interrupted the batch or something has interrupted the batch. If we just clear that, then it'll ask you to start right back where you left off.